Hello and welcome. It's Kit Alowitz. Welcome to the Leadership Journey video assignment number 1. I'd like to invite you to consider that as you take time to look at the way that you see things, the way that you see things can change. That is the journey we are on, to take time to think, to consider, to examine leadership. I'd also like to invite you to consider carefully the word executive in the title of the book that we just read, called The 4 Obsessions of the Extraordinary Executive. Please consider that this word executive, it's talking about you. It's talking about me. You are the executive, the CEO, the leader of your patch of dirt. For some of us, this patch of dirt could mean our individual leadership as a contributor. For others, the patch of dirt includes yourself as well as includes others. And yet, we are all executives here, working together to delight our customers, complete our assignments, and achieve preeminence. Patrick Lencioni, the author of the book, believes that all successful organizations share 2 qualities. They are 1, smart, and number 2, they are healthy. An organization demonstrates that it is smart by developing intelligent strategies, marketing plans, product features, and financial models that lead to a competitive advantage over its rivals. It demonstrates that it is healthy by eliminating politics and confusion, which leads to higher morale, lower turnover, and higher productivity. As important as both these topics are, healthy and smart, Patrick Lencioni has found that most leaders, many of us, spend a majority of our time and energy making our teams and organizations smarter, with relatively little effort directed towards making them healthier. We'd like you to consider that healthy organizations have a way of making themselves, in fact, smarter. Even if their ideas are temporarily inferior to those of their competitors, they are usually humble and efficient enough to recognize their deficiencies and make the changes to their plans before it's too late. On the other hand, plenty of anonymous and forgotten companies have squandered intelligent advantages away because of infighting, lack of clarity, and other problems that plague unhealthy organizations. Additionally, healthy companies are far less susceptible to ordinary problems than unhealthy ones. During difficult times, for instance, employees will remain committed to a healthy organization and stay with it longer, ultimately working to reestablish any sort of lost competitive advantage. Finally, and this point is critical, only you and I can make our organization healthy or more healthy. And of course, it's not rocket science, and yet the devil is in the details. The details are best described as quadrant 2 activities, meaning they are important activities, but they're not urgent. And anything that is quadrant 2, meaning important but not urgent, is consistently at risk of being neglected, put off, rationalized away, or just not completed. We are working to be that non-quadrant 2 doer, right? We want to be committed to doing quadrant 2 things, that leader or team organization. And let me also state that blocking and tackling the quadrant 1 activities that are urgent, those things are absolutely necessary to stay in business and are far more tangible and tantalizing for us to go after. It's the quadrant 2 activities that get in the way or are always at temptation for us not completing. And I'd like you to consider that it's also the little quadrant 2 things that differentiate the high-performing organizations, because they're working on things that are easy to do but easy not to do. They're important but they're not urgent. And that's our march towards preeminence. So let's jump in. Welcome officially to obsession number 1 of the 4 obsessions of the extraordinary executive. Obsession number 1 is to build and maintain a cohesive team. This is the responsibility of everyone on the team, whether you are the leader and or the collaborator on the team. According to the author of the book that we all read, building a cohesive team is the most critical of the 4 obsessions. Why? Because it enables the other 3 to take place. It is also the most elusive because it requires considerable interpersonal commitment from you and the entire team. Without paying attention, blindness can occur because leaders, that's you and me, everyone in the organization, can come to believe that small disconnects between ourselves, themselves, and their peers and partners are no big deal. And in fact, they actually create all sorts of potential rifts and challenges with slow possibility of resolution. And all of this occurs because leaders, again, that's you and me, fail to work out minor issues. And according to the author, a majority of these are due to fear of conflict. The commonness and severity of this problem makes the point worth repeating. When a leader decides not to confront a peer about a potential disagreement, he or she is in fact dooming others, not even in the conversation, to waste their time, money, and emotional energy dealing with unresolvable issues in that moment. Cohesive teams, on the other hand, resolve their issues and create environments of trust amongst themselves and thus for their people and their teams. They ensure that most of the energy expended in the organization is focused on achieving the desired results of the organization. Outstanding employees rarely leave these kind of organizations. Cohesive teams are efficient. They arrive at decisions quickly and with greater buy-in. A great way to recognize a cohesive team within our organization is the nature of their meetings. May I suggest that they are the following: passionate, intense, exhausting, never boring. For cohesive teams, meetings are compelling and they're vital. They are the forums of asking difficult questions, challenging one another's ideas, and ultimately arriving at decisions that everybody agrees and supports and adheres to in the best interest of the company. And finally, according to Patrick Lencioni, cohesive teams fight. But they fight about issues, not personalities. How do you get to a place where you are comfortable fighting about issues? Well, Lencioni suggests, and this is one of my favorite words that I picked up from him, is the value of getting naked. Now, this is about building trust. This is about a very general process of getting to know one another at a level that very few groups and people are willing to make the investment to actually achieve and get to. Perhaps a key part of building trust is living through difficult times. Just like a marriage or any other meaningful relationship, the only way to build strength is to share experiences that require everyone to rally around and overcome obstacles. Obsession number one is to build and maintain a cohesive team, a cohesive leadership team. And that applies to everyone watching this video, whether you actually have direct reports or someone who's making a contribution. We're all part of the team and we're all leaders within that team to make it happen. We all contribute to this happening, whether we are the leader, the collaborator, which in fact describes you and I and all of us. So, my powerful emotional close is this: make a commitment to consider being part of the solution to our team, to our organization, to achieve obsession number one, cohesiveness.